I've been working hard for Omega. I've been working hard on the line. I've been working hard for Big Brother, trying to serve my time on the line. But hold it steady right there while we hit it. Don't you reckon that I ought to get it? Working, working, trying to make Omega my home. Boom, 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 boom.
You know someone who only came to Carolina after a first conversation with Dr. That's it. How many of you have a funny story to tell about that?
I have something to tell about you too.
Next question. How many of you love Dr. Herb? And the last question, how many of you know that Dr. Herb also loves you? One person didn't raise her hand. You know, when you get to be retirement age, your peripheral vision goes, and you can't always tell what people are doing when they're sitting off to your left. Herb has influenced the lives of more people than any of us will ever know. He has influenced the lives of more people than probably most of us ever will or ever can. And we're here to celebrate his service to the university and the great and good works that he has done for so many years. And there was a reason why I used the word love, because I have seen every day in the 11 years that I've been here how Herb's love for people, for students, for their families, for his colleagues, for all the people who have given their lives to this place, how Herb's love for everyone has informed everything that he's done. And it's been watching him, getting to know him. It's just been a pleasure, and it's been very important to me. And there's nobody who'll ever come in this building a finer person than Dr. Herb. Dr. Herb, I know you did want people to say a lot of things about you. Do you have anything that you would like to say to the group in attendance? I do. If there's one other person I know who wants to comment. Go right ahead.
Two score. Well, actually, thank you. I'd like to thank all of you for coming. It's really an honor for me to see all of you. It's a wonderful occasion. It's really a wonderful occasion, and I was really not sure. I was not sure how I was going to handle it, but I think that just seeing your faces, it makes it worthwhile. And Steve asked me a little bit ago about how it came to be that I was in this office, and I'm just a firm believer that we end up where we're supposed to be. And I grew up sort of almost in two worlds. I was very, very fortunate in my life in that I lived down east with my family, and I also had my family. My mother was from Philadelphia, to give me another side of the world back in those days. And so I was just fortunate. I had a chance to, I was taking tests from my aunt when I was still in the crib. You know, and so I just, you know, I'm serious. I was taking tests, and I thought about some of my classmates who barely had an existence. There was never a chance that they were going to go anywhere. They just didn't have a chance. Didn't have a chance at all. And so I just, all of my life, I've just been blessed. When I was young, everybody, the old folks used to come up to me and say, boy, you're born for good luck because you are just like your mother. And it's true, I'm just like my mother. If you know my mother, you've seen her, just like my mother. And all my life, I left there and I went, of course, back and forth in high school, and I graduated from high school as an all-state football player. Yes. And so, you know, he was an all-state football player. We got to pick our girlfriends and our wives. And so, there you go. I went off to college, and the football thing didn't work out. And guess what? I was at Hampton University, and then I said, no, I'm not going, back in those days, it's a long story, but I said, no, I'm not going to stay here if you're not going to give me full scholarship. And next thing I know, I had a track scholarship to go to Elizabeth City. And you know who I worked for? I worked for the president. My job was to drive the president's wife on her shopping trips to, or whatever else she wanted to do. And the reason I'm telling you these things is because it's not that I have reached any level or whatever that people have not done the same thing for me. I was going to go to med school. And I had to say, okay, well, do I want to go to Champaign-Urbana and freeze myself to death? Or do I come to the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill? And who should I meet but Gene Desai and Peter? And so we did our work there, and Gene and I, after we did our degrees and things, we taught the introductory zoology program. Gene would be in charge of the labs one semester, I believe it was one semester, and I did the next semester, whatever. And then the next thing I know, I called over admissions complaining about students. I told Steve that. I called over to admissions complaining about students. Of course, you know, faculty would never do that. But I did. I complained, and I said, well, and so Colin Rustin, who is not here, he had to be in Georgia, said, well, if you think it's that bad, why don't you come over here? And so eventually I said, okay, you know, and here I am all these times, all these years later. And the bottom line is that all of you in this room you've just done such wonderful things to people, and that's the way I believe it should happen. And while I have been truly blessed throughout I didn't tell you about how the president of the university, President Friday, treated me. And I didn't talk about some of those others. But I've just been absolutely blessed throughout. And I just wish that every one of you who have done so much for students like, where's Emmanuel? Is Emmanuel gone? Right now. Emmanuel, for those that stand up, Emmanuel. For those of you who don't know, Emmanuel, he's a grown man now with a wife and child. But Emmanuel at one time was a lost boy of Sudan. And some of you in here made it possible for him to come to this university from a life of death and destruction and all of that. And so, you know, I thank you for having that compassion for him as well. and I'm going to get through this real quick, but there's plenty of food, so you're here. Somebody asked me, why are you retiring now, Herb? And the answer is, I have no idea. Absolutely no idea why I'm retiring. But, you know, I would never make a big decision like this without conferring with some people, some friends and all. So I called Katie Couric, for those of you who don't know. And she says, well, Herb, if you go, I'm gone. She left yesterday. Somebody told me, so I was going to call Gary Williams, for those of you who don't know, former basketball coach at Maryland. I was going to call him and tell him, but I was afraid he would sabotage this thing. So I left him. But anyway, and then I did go. Oprah, I said, she said, Herb, you took care of Gail's son when he came to the University of North Carolina. And if you are going, I'm out of here too. Anyway, I'm going to close this out and tell you that I had, people ask me, why do I have my name tag on this? So I can remember, what I was doing here. But I was trying to think of the top 10 reasons to retire. And I couldn't figure out what number 10 was, so I just went to number 9. And I was thinking, one thing was, there are some people in here who are in the same age group as I am, And one of the things that I noticed was in the last year or two, the reading committees, for those of you who are not familiar with our process, we have reading committees where we read applications, and we have people on these committees. And the reading committees start getting changed twice a year. And I said, gosh, that's a lot, isn't it? And but that wasn't the problem. The problem was I couldn't remember who my committee was. And so I kept sending my applications to Melissa and Aaron, and they were nice enough, and they would say, oh, Herb, I'm not on your committee. So that was number 8. Number 7 was, I still have my health. I'm blessed there. That's a good thing. Number 6, you meet the retirement age, health requirements, years, and all those things. So there you go. Number 5, I've been here all these years, and I've never taken a 2-week vacation. I've never taken a 2-week vacation. I thought, well, okay. Number 4. Best Italy travel rates during peak season. That's an in-house joke. Number 3. Peak hiking season in peak reading season. Number 2, nobody complains about you anymore. It's like, oh, Herb, you're wonderful, blah, blah, blah. Okay. But number 1, and that's the best one of all, and that is, you know you are leaving a place where there are absolutely wonderful people who will do a wonderful, even better job than you could ever have imagined. And that's the most wonderful thing. I've been here so long, I wonder, could we maintain this love of students? And I was at the service appreciation yesterday, and the chancellor said that, and that is, this is what we're all about, and this is what you're all about, helping and doing good things for students, even though some of you will never ever get a kind word. You only get a call when something goes wrong. And so those are the top 10 reasons. And finally, everybody wants to know, what am I going to do when I retire? Well, there are a lot of things I'm going to be doing. One is I'm going to be trying to clean up my house so that I can see the floor. That's good. I'm going to work in the yard some. I've got some things that are growing. Some of you have seen some of the pictures, and I've got to put some more attention on that. But some of the more important things for me is, some of you know that Down East is a very, very close to me, and so I've been talking to the superintendents, and actually I happen to know the Chamber of Commerce director down there in some of these places, and so they've agreed that they will work to some of the ideas I have to try to make some of the students from Down East, for those of you down East, 64 East, to try to make them better prepared for selective universities like Carolina and other kinds of places. And one of the things that I thought, and we talked about really fun, is we're going to have a spelling bee for the eastern part of the way there, so it's coincide right with the real spelling bee. And you know, we're going to do some of those things that just to uplift the community. I'd like to introduce my family. I come from a multicultural family. My mother couldn't be here. My mother's 83 years old, and I've been trying to get her. I said, Mom, you're going to come up. And she's, I love her, but she said, you know, Herb, I'm 83, I've got bowling on Monday, and my brother's a pastor here, so I want him to close his ears. And then she says, you know, I've got line dancing. So I know you probably didn't know this. Anyway, and so she's at the town council and all those things, so she couldn't be here. But my sister-in-law is there, Sherry, and then there is my niece, and there's my sister. Yes, right. Very multicultural. My brother Eric, my sister-in-law, and my daughter. Some of you seen Brittany and Alicia, my granddaughter, and my son Lamar, and of course, Byron, of course, introduced him there. So I'm honored. I'm pleased. And as a matter of fact, you know, someone was talking about that picture. Okay. It was a wedding. It was a wedding, but it was not my wedding. That's what I told you. I didn't. So anyway, that was a wedding, and after this, I'm going to stop and let go. But next week, Gwen and I are going to celebrate an anniversary. It will be 38 years. What? We're not going to celebrate? Oh. Okay. Yeah, but that's only part of it, because we were together 10 years before that. So anyway, but I still... So anyway, but that's another. My granddad made it to... My granddad was married 60 years, so I don't know how he did it, but anyway. Thanks.
Tony Strickland told me the picture was from just a normal working day back here. He said that back in the day, that's the way everybody dressed.
Well, Steve, I will tell you one story.
He has been pulling my leg for
True story. When I came to this university, the first day I walked into my graduate courses, I walked in just like this with a tie, a green shirt and everything, and Helmut Miller, the animal behavior guy, walked in with a pair of shorts, a cut-off t-shirt, and a cup in his hand. I said, I'm in a different world. It was the old HBC thing. All right, I won't interrupt again.
In all of Herb's retirement reasons, he made fun of himself, and he tried to suggest that he was giving back. But that's not true. And I just want to say, Herb, you make too much fun of yourself, and it's not right. We can't just let that stand, because nobody is sharper than Herb Davis. Herb told some of us back in September that he was thinking about retiring. Actually told us back in September that he was retiring. And he has worked almost literally night and day since he made up his mind to retire to make sure that we would all be ready for this day. And he's worked really hard, and it has been hard work because we're not ready. I told somebody earlier that I've really been dreading today, as happy as I am for you, Herb, that you have worked hard to put us in a position where we can keep doing your work. On a related subject, Herb, it is not too late to change your mind. We will not send you a bill for this gathering. We will all chip in. I do have a letter here addressed to Dr. Herbert L. Davis, and I agreed that I would read it. And maybe this is where we'll end, and then we can get back to celebrating. The address is P.O. Box 1, Jamesville, North Carolina.
That's my address.
27846, May 23rd, 2011. Dear son, congratulations. The time has finally arrived. You might wonder, where have the years gone? I'm sure it has become an enjoyable experience as you shared your learning, your wisdom, your listening ear, your patience, and your concern for many students through the years. Now you won't have to keep appointments, prepare speeches, and be on a time schedule. No more getting to the car and having to go back in the house to get something you forgot. And then in parentheses, how many times, ha ha. Now I finally know where Herb got the ha ha. You will miss the students and your co-workers, and they will miss you. And amen to that. But it's time to enjoy another phase of your life. It will take some time to get used to it, but it will get better. Even though I'm not there for this joyous occasion, my thoughts and prayers are with you. I pray that God will continue to bless you and your family as you retire from your job. Many blessings, and I love you. Sincerely, Mom.
There's more food over there. I'll have to compost it.
Somebody tell me why were we treated so bad? Oh, I wanna know, I need to know, I gotta know. Why were we treated so bad?
Zoom, zoom, zoom.
Somebody tell me why.
Zoom, zoom, zoom.
Why were we treated so bad?
Zoom, zoom, zoom.
Oh, I wanna know, I need to know, I gotta know. Why were we treated so bad?
Zoom, zoom, zoom.
I go to to sleep at 6.
Zoom, zoom, zoom.
And wake up early at 8.
Zoom, zoom, zoom.
I go to see my big brothers.
Zoom, zoom, zoom.
Oh, but I'm always late.
Zoom, zoom, zoom.
Somebody tell me why.
Zoom, zoom, zoom.
Why were we treated so bad?
Zoom, zoom, zoom.
Oh, I wanna know, I need to know, I gotta know. Why were we treated so bad?
Zoom, zoom, zoom.
In the fall of 1972, 10 young men took the first steps in organizing a chapter of the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated on the campus of the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. It was decided that the chapter would be organized under the auspices of the Beta Phi Graduate Chapter in Durham, North Carolina. The members of Beta Phi appointed a committee consisting of Big Brothers Reuben H. Cherry, Lindsey Merritt, Coach Leroy Walker, George Quiet, and Dr. James Lewis to work with Big Brothers Paul B. Woods and Herbert L. Davis in the organization of the chapter. It was decided that Big Brother Paul B. Woods would be the on-campus Dean of Pledges, with Big Brother Herbert Davis acting as his assistant. On November 19, 1972, 7 of these young men were initiated into the Lampados Club. They were Eric L. Dean, William L. Muldrow, Charles O. Harris, Henry Molden, Dennis A. Ellis, Grady A. Timberlake, and Jimmy R. McPherson. They were initiated by Big Brothers Paul Woods, Herbert Davis, and John Scott. At the first meeting of the Lampados Club of UNC, Lamp Eric Dean was unanimously elected president of the line, with the other offices being Vice President Bill Muldrow, Secretary Charles Harris, Reporter, Historian, and Chaplain Henry Molden, Treasurer Dennis Ellis, Social Chairman Grady Timberlake, and Parliamentarian Jimmy McPherson. On December 6, 1972, 3 other young men became members of the Lampados Club. They were Slater T. Lloyd, Gregory Strayhorn, and George M. Coates. Subsequently, the role of reporter-historian was given to George Coates, leaving Henry Molden to fill only one office. Unfortunately, circumstances forced Gregory Strayhorn to discontinue his membership. This left 9 young men to struggle to enter the folds of the Omega Psi Phi fraternity. Being the first MPHC organization on the campus of UNC, Psi Delta looked to take the yard by storm. Today, after more than 39 pledge classes and 185 brothers later, the Psi Delta chapter of Omega Psi Phi fraternity has grown into a stronghold on the campus of UNC Chapel Hill, upholding the cardinal principles of manhood, scholarship, perseverance, and uplift. These men look to carry on the great legacy of their prestigious chapter. With that being said, I would now like to invite you, as you travel through 40 years of Psi Delta Brotherhood.